Okay, so last week I shared with you guys this journal that I had made for Marion Smith's challenge for March, and I promised you guys a video on how I did the binding on this, and I have a step-by-step version of putting the actual physical binder together that I will do in a time lapse at the end of this demonstration, but the video that I had done making the individual pieces had gotten corrupted, so I have to start over from scratch. So typically when you download one of Marion's pages, this is what it looks like. So basically you're just going to trim around the edges and then fold it in half to make your book. So for today's demonstration, we're going to just use some scratch paper, and I'm going to show you how I did it, just basically, you know, using these pieces of scratch paper. And what you're going to need to make the hidden hinge, let me pull this back out and show you. As you can see, the hinge is hidden inside of here so that you have, it allows for the extra bulk of all of the flowers and the dimension, but by having the hidden hinge, you don't notice it, and it just looks like it's one fluid page, one right after the other. So this is how it came together. You're going to have your page, and it's going to be pre-cut. And now with Marion's pages, you have a typical thing like an envelope here and there too, so you'll have uneven sizes of pages, but there's a way to accommodate for that, and I'll show you. I started out with these strips that are cut the width of your page, and that's going to vary depending on how your printer cut it out, so you're going to have to just figure your measurements out on your own, but as long as it's the size of the page that you're trying to bind, then you're fine, as long as it's as high as the pages that you're trying to bind. Then I only cut mine at like 1.5 inches, and you could definitely cut them any size you want, but with Marion, she typically has pockets and things like that, and I didn't want a lot of bulk to get in the way, or I didn't want the added bulk of the cardstock making the book even bulkier than what it is. So I just stuck to 1.5 inches, and then you're just going to score it in the middle, fold it in half, and then this is going to be your hinge. Now on the first one, you want to make sure that your page is going to bind to the book, you know, the binding, so you want to make sure that you leave this one out so that it can be exposed for your cover, so you can attach this middle section to the cover. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to use some ATG tape. You can use score tape, any kind of adhesive that you want, and I'm going to line it up with the folded edge, and you want to make sure you get it right on the folded edge. With the March journal, I used craft cardstock. You can use whatever color you like for whatever you're trying to do. So this is going to stay unattached to anything because I'm going to use it for the cover. Then I'm going to go over to the next page. So basically, when you put your book together, it's going to look like this, and then you're going to fold it over. And I'm doing it backwards for the camera because I got to do it right for me. So then on this page, you would basically just decide where you want to put your glue. If you've got pockets on the center of the pages, you want to don't glue where those pockets would be, just like you would if you were putting our book together normally. You're going to apply glue to this, and you're going to apply, you know, all around your perimeter. And then you're going to put this piece right on top of the other piece. Apply glue to it on the only half. So it's going to fold over like that, and you now have your first page. So now it has this kind of T-shaped spine. And when you're applying your glue, you want to make sure you don't apply it directly to the spine, because you want that to have a little bit of give in the spine area. That's where you're going to compensate for the bulk of the extra flowers on the interior pages. So then you're going to go to your next page. So this is something that I've done before too, to kind of keep myself straight, is I will take a pencil or something and up towards this edge where you're not going to see it. Don't write it in the spine area, but up here just put binder, so that you know that that's going to be your binding your binding one, and you're going to build off of this one, because it gets confusing as you start adding pages. And with Marion, you get a page here and a page there. You don't get them all at one time, so it's difficult sometimes because you're just building this as you go. And this will help keep you straight. So then the next thing you want to do is this page is going to tuck into your next page. So you're going to decide, you know, which panel goes which way. You're going to lay it here. Apply glue to this hinge. And I'm using paper for the demonstration, but you would want to use cardstock. So that's going to get glued down just like that. And we're going to follow the same procedure. This time it's going to come over here. You're going to apply the glue here. Oops. Apply the glue here. Put this one on top. That. Figure out how you have your cuts. And when I say weird cuts, I'll show you an example in this book. She usually has like things like pockets. You would want to go ahead and do the pre-cut for the pocket so that you don't add glue where that pocket would be when you start to close up the book. Just like you would in normal pages. Like here, this one had a pocket. So I wanted to make sure that my glued edge was not going to interfere with that being a functional pocket. And the great thing about digital is it's not your only copy. If you mess it up, you can always print another one. So here we go. Let's get this one glued down. So just say that this one had a pocket in it. Let's just make one really quick. So say that this one had, just say, a pocket right here that you were going to stick an insert into, like this. Then what I would do is I would go ahead and put my insert into the pocket, figure out how deep I need to go with it, apply my glue like we talked about before. Remember, this is a 2-layer process here. I would put my glue around the pocket. Whoops, and now my ATG is out of glue, so we'll need to move to something else. This only happened you to glue down just like this. We probably have enough of that ATG on there for now. Okay, so basically you're going to add your glue all the way around and secure that down. But make sure that you don't get the insert glued in there. So there you have that one. Now you have your second hinge. Now what if your next page is a half page or an envelope or something like that? How do you do this? Because you don't want that hinge to show. So what I did was, before I put my envelopes together, in this instance I actually cut one of the edges off the envelope. And then I'm going to come over here, decide the placement that I want the envelope in my book, and then I'm going to trim off pieces of that hinge. And I probably would have done this before I actually glued that piece in, just so it'd be a nicer cut. Even though you're not going to see it, you still want it to be neat. So I have this size. Now I have another one of my hinges. I'm going to cut it at the exact same size. So I'm just going to take this over here and trim it down like this. And you're going to follow through with the same process. This is going to get glued to right here. Now whenever you go to put your envelope together, you don't want to have, you want to have this hinge actually hooked to this panel like this, and you don't want to close it up. You don't want to apply too much glue in here because this still needs to be a functional envelope through here. So basically what I do is, if I have an insert for this envelope, same process as I had done before, I take my insert and I place it inside this envelope and see how much room I have open for the next piece. And then what I do is I'll glue this down like this. go ahead and apply my piecing. That's the thing about Marion's envelopes, is she usually leaves enough room with her inserts for her binding. Now see how I went ahead and added that in there like that? This will now be open for binding. You know, it'll be open for the insert. So this piece is glued down where it will not interfere. So I'm going to come up here, pull this up. Wait, let's get this piece on here first. So then I took a piece of masking tape, which I have up here somewhere. And basically what I did was I put this panel back on using a hinge. I mean, like this. And the masking tape will keep that edge from coming off. And then you close it back down. And then by the time, since these are envelopes, by the time you glue your envelope down, and you glue along this edge right here. Oops. Yep. By the time you do all of this, it's pretty secure, and you're not going to have any problems with anything falling out of it. So there's your envelope. You just want to make sure that as you're putting your pages together, see how it's hidden here in the center? As you're putting your pages together, when you get to the very end, you want to make sure you have one of these lips sticking out, and you want to make sure you have one of these lips sticking out so you can attach it to your cover. And then now I'm going to show you how I did the cover. But now also, if you want to, on your first one that you do and your last one that you do, if you wanted to make maybe the side that goes into the binding a little bit wider, you definitely could do that too. So stay tuned for the rest of the video to show how I did the actual physical binding of the page. Thanks for watching.